so much tape, so we better do it quick.
Ready to go? We're
Yeah.
live.
Let's do it.
Coming up on UPH. Give 'em the stick.
Transformers, prepare to gorge your eyes.
Winner is you.
Timber!
And more on this episode of Unbelievable Power Hour.
The Hive haven't been on Earth in centuries. That wizard came from the moon.
Hello and welcome to episode 29 of Unbelievable Power Hour, your mind-blowing source for gaming video.
No, that works.
All right, I'm Dan DeHaan, and with me today is my gaming roast beef, Tim Arby Sauce Austin.
What up, Dan? And this has been live for about, we're actually been doing this podcast for about a minute and a half now, and that's about as long as I can go without talking about the new Transformers movie. I saw it last Friday, and it was the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Have you seen it yet?
I have not.
Wow.
I was a Transformers fan when I was a kid, and seen some of the movies.
First off, we sat down, and I'm like, all right, well, let's get ready for this. I then realized it's a 3-hour movie. What? 3-hour movie. By hour 1.5, 2, I was cheering for the bad guys. I'd kill them all. I have a slight man crush on Mark Wahlberg.
Prime. Oh.
No, Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch.
You do?
He's pretty great. I really like him. It's probably his muscles. This took a weird turn. Took a weird turn.
Yeah.
Just for the record, I like women a lot.
And robots.
But robots more, let's be honest.
Why was it so bad? Why was the movie so bad?
Plot holes like crazy. There was one part where they could... Am I... Spoiler alert? I feel like I have to say that.
Hey, spoiler alert.
Okay. There's one point where the Autobots couldn't destroy the Decepticons, and so they needed, like, older... And this may be your realm more than mine, just because I never, like, watched the video... I've played with Transformers growing up, but I never watched, like, the TV show. But they needed the old Transformers to help, so there was one that was a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and there was one that was
the Dinobots.
Yeah, the Dinobots, which I remember, but Optimus Prime has to go enlist their help, and so he throws around this Dinobot that's a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and then starts riding it through the movie. So now the Dinobot is like his pet?
His Yoshi.
That's exactly what it was like. It was weird and awful. I went with a bunch of my friends, and we were tough talking it the whole time.
How was the action?
I mean, it was like any other Transformer. I mean,
it's almost too much action.
It was overdone. It was overdone, and Optimus Prime at the beginning is hurt, and he's a 18.
He's not hurt?
Yeah, no.
Just really sensitive.
He's really sensitive. He cries out of the headlights. That's not true.
Wow. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, for real. It rusts, and that's where the movie ends. From his tears.
Oh.
From his Transformer tears. No, he's hurt at the beginning, and then Mark Wahlberg fixes him, and then all of a sudden he just changes into another 18-wheeler after he said he couldn't. It was just plot hole after plot hole. It was just the worst.
Sounds terrible.
I would rather watch Sharknado on repeat for hours on end.
Sharknado 2 is coming out, and it features Subway's Jared in it at some point.
I couldn't be a bigger fan of Sharknado 1, and I can't wait for Sharknado 2.
Now, how did Transformers write out Shia LaBeouf?
Nothing was said.
He's just gone.
He's gone. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we should also mention that Aaron is off this week, so Tim is hopped into the co-host seat, and Aaron's on vacation in the U.S.
Whoa,
so,
the U.S.
We got a little bro time in last weekend.
Awesome.
Ate a bunch of meat. Delicious steak.
What?
Played some board games. And high-fived a bunch.
What is more American and manly than taking something that was once living, grilling it, and eating it?
Yeah. And got some ice cream together.
Was it froyo?
No.
Okay, but then we're still on the man scale.
It was Cap'n Sunday.
This meat is fantastic. Let's go get some froyo.
Exactly. So yeah, that was it. We had a good time. We played a little Android Netrunner, which is a 2-player board game, and we played some Marvel Dice Masters. The funny thing is, it took us several hours to finally figure out how to play Android Netrunner. Neither of us had played it before.
Wow, why?
And it was a challenge. I think we fell on that it was poorly constructed instructions, the manual.
Okay.
We watched a couple of videos, and just throughout playing, there were these little questions we had. How do we do this? Trying to find that in the manual was a pain, and thankfully we started using Board Game Geek, their forums, and a lot of people had similar questions that we asked, and we found our answers there.
A lot of those games are like that, though, where you read the basic rules and then you get into it. I'm thinking of when we played Munchkin together.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's one of those things where you're like, well, can I do this? And I don't know. Let's go look it up. So a lot of those games,
clarifications that you need to look up.
A lot of those games feel that way, but it sounds like this one was way above and beyond.
It was. Wow. I think we played probably 10 hours and maybe got 5 games in, which it's supposed to be like a 30-minute to an hour game. So it was quite challenging.
Did you take into consideration the meat factor? You were eating so much meat, maybe that added time.
We were drunk on meat.
You were. Did you get the meat sweats? I've had so much meat, I'm sweating.
While we were eating it, yeah.
Right.
Oh, this is good, and it's making me sweat.
Right.
Wow.
It's actually A1 sauce. Meat sweats are his A1
I don't do that to my meat. Do you?
Yeah. No, I don't. Straight up meat.
I don't get that. I mean, I like the meat. I don't like too much seasoning on my meat either. Some people do that. They like season the crap out of it, and that just reminds me of a crappy steak that doesn't taste very good.
Here's
hide it.
Here's a delicious steak. I rolled it in granola. That's what it feels like.
No.
Yes.
Oh, it feels like that in your mouth?
Yeah, if they put too much seasoning on it, it's like you're biting into granola seasoned steak.
It's like if you go to an Outback Steakhouse, their kind of steak. It's like the cheapest steak you can buy, and they hide how cheap it is with tons and tons of seasoning.
Screw you, Outback Steakhouse.
This episode has been brought to you by Outback Steakhouse, where you can get some amazing, delicious meats.
Throw another shrimp on the Barbie.
Are you ready to get into some games?
Let's do it.
Just so you know, your mic isn't muted while the music is going, so we get this amazing sound of you blowing your nose right in the middle of the...
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, it's time to talk about some games. This is our weekly playlist. It's where we talk about the games we've been playing all week. Tim, I'm going to let you start this week.
Okay, yeah, I'm excited about some of those. Just so the listeners know, I challenged Dan. Was it Tuesday?
I think it was.
I challenged Dan to a new game that I was playing. It is both iOS and Android. It's a game called Timberman. I told Dan it's the new Flappy Bird, not because it plays like Flappy Bird, but because it has addictive qualities like Flappy Bird. And so I challenged him Tuesday to see who could get the highest score. I got a crazy high score. At least I feel like it was a crazy high score.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like we told each other that we cannot
tell
say
each other
what our high score is. So we both had to get as high as we thought we could, and then we are going to reveal it on the show right now.
But I feel I got what I felt was a crazy high score until I looked at YouTube videos. Stupid YouTube.
Did you see that video of the robot playing
Incredible.
Timberman? Yes.
But incredible. But this is my issue. If it's a robot and it can only get 1,000, I feel pretty good about my score.
Yeah, I do. I'm so curious to know what you got. Let's talk about what Timberman is, though. It's just there's a big, huge tree. You're a lumberjack, and you can either be on the right side or the left side of the tree, depending on which side you touch on your phone. And you just chop a chunk out. And these limbs start dropping down as you chop chunks out, and you have to be on the opposite side of when the limb hits the bottom. Otherwise, it will kill you and end the game.
Which sounds pretty easy, but there's also a life bar. Like, as you progress, your life drops faster, so you have to...
Like a timer, yeah.
Yeah, you have to chop the wood faster. And if it runs out, your guy dies. Or woman dies. It is... I've explained it to friends, and they're like, Tim, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And then they play it, and they're like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, so, it is fun. It is very much fun.
First, I need to ask because in this game you can choose what your character is. I need to first ask which character you're using.
Well, right now I'm using the hazmat character, but that's not because that's the one.
That's
one I've unlocked.
That's a good.
My probably what they say is the hardest that I have unlocked. The worker. I've unlocked Jason. So in the game you can change your characters. The lumberjack that you use. I have worker and Jason.
I'm just gonna say this: if you've unlocked worker because of your score,
no.
Okay.
The number of times I chopped.
I was gonna say I'm doomed.
Okay, let's do it. We're going to reveal our Timberman scores. I want you to start.
Okay, so I'm using Timberboy because he's got a little tuft of hair. He is completely nude except for whitey tighties, and that's funny to me.
All right, let's hear the score.
My best is 316.
Oh, yeah!
What do you have?
413.
My word. I was so confident, and that's all thrown out the window.
I was very nervous because I was like, what does he have? And so I was like, I have to break 400. That is the only way I'm going to have a chance. And I just attacked it.
How do you... Okay, this is the other question I have. Do you use 2 pointer fingers? Or do you use thumbs?
Double thumbs.
I double thumb. I try the 2 pointer fingers. On YouTube, I've seen people use 4 digits on each. I can't even keep up. Yeah. I am a boy in the land of men when it comes. I'm a timber boy.
So basically, at work, I would go hide in the bathroom and just play. Get my...
I think this brings up a great point. This is the quintessential bathroom game.
Yes, it is. I concur.
Quintessential bathroom game.
I really liked this challenge. I thought it was fun. It was frightening not knowing what your high score could have been. I thought that you would have had over 350 was my guess. Because I think my last high score that I announced to you was 200 something. And so I thought, I bet he exceeded that by over 100. And I have to get over 400 if I'm going to have a chance at this.
I think I tough talked too much. I think that's what happened.
You know what? It worked against you because it fueled me.
Well, my high score was like 180, and then I got into the 300s, and I was like, "This is impossible." I felt like I saw a unicorn. There's no way I'll ever get higher than this.
You can. It just takes. You have to build up your bar in those long stretches.
Yeah.
On one side, you have to fire through those to build up that.
So when you were that high, were you just going on reaction? Or were you, okay, 2 here, two left side, 2 right side, 2 left side, 2 right side, like, or did you slow down and actually think about it, or was it all reactionary?
It gets to the point where I would slow down some when there was just 2 taps on one side, 2 taps on the other, 2 taps.
Okay.
You know, that's where it would just kind of be the rhythm, like I was, you know, just kind of tap-a-roo.
Was there a dance with that?
And then if I saw a long stretch, that's when I'd start speed through it. I was like, I got to build up this timeline.
It's a super fun game that you guys should play and post what your high score is. Maybe you could be not as lame as me and lose this bet. So, Timberman is what I've been playing. It's the perfect bathroom game. The only caveat is make sure your sound's off because then everybody knows you're playing a video game while you're pooping. So I'm just saying. The other one I've been been playing another one on my mobile device. It's called Plague Incorporated. Dan, have you played it?
I have not, but I've eyeballed it. I've seen it, and I'm like, I'm interested in that.
It's a blasty blast. 2 days ago. What it is you have a map of the world, and you create a plague and try to kill everybody. And so it allows you to pick different strains and different symptoms, different transmission, like if it goes through bugs or livestock or all of these different things, and you can evolve it as it goes and as the game goes along. And then if you pick like America for it to start, you have to pick one country for it to start. So if you pick the US, we're really developed, and so they start making a cure almost immediately.
Okay.
So you have to pick a country that isn't so developed but still has like an airplane port and a sea port so that it can transmit both different ways. It's super fun. I created a disease called Oprah the other day.
Oh.
And
What
Oprah,
were
the symptoms were diarrhea. And
you can choose diarrhea?
You can evolve it to diarrhea. And then heart failure was the other one. It was pretty bad. And Oprah destroyed humanity.
Wow.
It was pretty incredible.
And this is on your iPhone?
This is on an iPhone or Android. I play it on my...
I think I've seen it on Steam. I am really curious about this.
It's super fun. There's a little feature that allows you to speed up time, which helps a ton. Just because a game will last an hour if you were. But it's the perfect game to play while you're... I watch a lot of baseball, and it's a perfect game to play along while you're... Because you don't have to actually watch the whole time. There's time for it to build up, and to spend points and stuff like that. So it's a great game to play while you're kind of paying attention to something else as well.
What are some of the other symptoms you can choose?
Let me pull it up right now.
So are you a scientist that's creating these diseases, or you're just
It doesn't really get into that. It starts. It's loading now. So I'm
this game should
starting.
be called Bioterrorism, the game.
So I don't know if you can see, it says you can enter a plague type.
Okay, yeah.
And you can do bacteria, virus, all those different
Fungus,
things.
parasite.
Yeah,
that looks really fun.
I haven't unlocked everything yet, so I just have bacteria at this point, and then you can put in a disease name, and then you can modify the genetic code if you look right here.
Wow.
With different vulnerabilities and stuff. And then you have to choose which country you are going to infect, like I talked about earlier. Let's see if I can come up with the abilities. So you're starting off with four abilities, and then as you choose them, two more come open. So, for instance, the first abilities that you can choose are cold resistance 1, heat resistance 1, drug resistance 1, or bacteria resistance 1. And then as you evolve that, two more options come from that. So you can get drug resistance 2, and then with the drug resistance, you can modify the code so the people working on the cure are messed up. The code is always evolving, so the cure is harder to get. It's super fun and in-depth. You need to buy it.
Now, this is 99 cents on my iPad. It sounds well worth the 99 cents.
It's well worth the 99 cents.
And I see there's even a new simian flu update brought to you by Dawn
of the Planet of the Apes.
Wow.
So that's one I've been playing like crazy the past 2 weeks or so. It's a lot of fun.
That sounds great. I'm going to try it today.
You should. My tip is this, because you can, if you don't infect everybody, but it still kills 99% of the world, you lose. So work on infectability or infectivity first, and like with your first points that you get, then go lethality next, and then you should be able to do it.
Man.
But it's a pretty hard game. If you play on medium, it's pretty hard.
It sounds awesome though, and like you said, it sounds like a great game to play on the couch while you're just like focusing on other things as well.
Holding a baby or
like children.
Yeah, like children.
Hold on, Amelia, I'm making a disease.
Hold on, Oprah just spread to Greenland. And then the third and final game that I've listed here, I showed this to Dan, I think last week as well. I found an in-browser game of Wolfenstein 3D, and it's total nostalgia for me, but I've been playing it like crazy. It's the one I'm sure...
Nostalgia a symptom?
Nostalgia is not a symptom.
Oh, okay.
That is an ability.
All right.
So I've been killing Nazis.
Wolfenstein 3D, classic first-person shooter, one of the originals that started the boom of first-person shooters.
Wasn't it BioWare that put it out?
Wasn't it id? No.
Maybe.
Was it one of the id games? Did they do Wolfenstein and... No, I've got to look this up so we don't sound like morons. Wolfenstein 3D, Wikipedia says, yes, it was id Software. So,
but it's super fun. We can throw up the link if you guys are interested, and I give that to Dan. He can throw it up.
We most definitely will.
It is in browser, so you don't have to load anything. All of the levels are there that you can play. I've been taking them in order. Did you know that in the original Wolfenstein 3D, there was a special level that you could get to that you play against not Nazis, but the ghosts from Pac-Man?
I did not know that. That sounds crazy.
It was. Those crazy ghosts coming at you. So that's what I've been playing.
Is there a panic button on this this game? Does it support a panic button that
it does not for work?
Behind you? Yeah.
It does not support a panic button.
And
but
shoot a spreadsheet?
But if you have a Mac like I have, you can set it up to swipe to the next screen.
Nice.
You're good to go.
Panic.
Not that I've done that.
So I got some good gaming in this week. First of all, add another game to my list of beaten games.
Nice.
Guacamelee.
Now take me through it. What's Guacamelee?
Guacamelee is a platformer about a luchador. And I'd say the plot is pretty much save the princess kind of thing.
Is he a plumber?
No, he is a luchador.
Oh, right.
A Mexican wrestler.
Okay, the graphics look incredible.
They are. They're beautiful, cartoony, great style graphics. I would say, my personal opinion, this was a pretty hard platformer.
Really?
Yeah. Because there's a lot of chains of different moves you have to do.
Okay.
To reach certain heights or areas on the level. Also, to beat characters or bosses, you have different styles of wrestling moves. You have the headbutt, you have some super like charging punch, you have just a bunch of different moves. And they are indicated by on the bosses or your nemesis throughout the game by color. So it's like they have a shield that protects them with this different color. You have to use that move to be able to break their shield, and then you can actually do damage on the character.
Okay.
Now, later in the game, the bosses start having multiple color shields. So to be able to attack them, first you have to memorize, their different attack moves so you can defend or dodge.
Right.
And then you have to do that special move to be able to break it, and then you still have to be able to, to beat them to the point that they have been vanquished.
All right.
And this was a really good game. I said on the show last week, it took me a little bit to actually get into it because of the way, you know how Mario 3, they have an overworld map, and you just move to the level and you go into the level.
Yep.
Well, this isn't structured that way. You are in these towns, and it's 2D, and you can move throughout the towns and take different quests or whatever, little things like that. But then you have to travel through the town and find where the actual levels are. And you just kind of transition into that level. You run up and right and keep going, and then that takes you to like a little pre-stage, and then that takes you to the actual level. So that took me a bit to find. I was like, this is really kind of boring. And I was like, I'm not sure what to do. And then finally I was like, all right, I'm going to go to this temple or whatever they told me and try and find it. And there were some directions, go this way to find the temple. And then finally got into the level. And then I finally had an amazing time and became addicted to it.
Okay. Would you say that, because one of the negatives I hear about games, RPGs, is if you're not super into it and you don't pay really close attention, you don't know what to do and you're just walking around this huge world. Is that kind of what it felt like?
No, it did in the sense that I wasn't sure. I think the problem was that I was not putting enough time into it when I would sit down. Like, I'd sit down and be like, all right, let me try this for 5 minutes. And it's like, it might take you a few minutes running, right and down to this direction to find the level. But it really wasn't that hard. It was just because I was, like, used to the Mario style where it's like, hey, you get on the map and you go to the world. And that's what you start playing. And it's just not that way at all. It's not RPG in that sense. It's more, how the Mario games have like a hidden star.
Yep.
When you're in that little pre-world town, someone will say, hey, find this, and that would be something then that you could look for in the level while you're playing it.
Okay.
So it's not RPG at all. I mean, other than there are power-ups, like as far as you can unlock wrestling moves. So throughout the level you get coins and that kind of stuff, and then you can unlock new moves that you can do to chain together. I'd say it's closer to a fighting game in that way. So you can unlock a body slam, so that if you press left and triangle, it will body slam them, something like that.
This, first off, sounds incredible.
It's really good. This is one of the rare games that I've just like played, and then I was like, I can't stop playing this, and I beat it in a week.
Because 7-year-old me loves wrestling.
Yeah. Because
it's awesome and hilarious. And I think about taking the Mario platform, which we've talked about before. What a crazy story. What plumber needs to save a princess? But like this, and maybe that adds to the fun of it all, but this sounds like a more natural fit. It sounds absolutely incredible. Would you say that because of it's not just go to the next level, do you feel like there's a better storyline?
It isn't a deep storyline at all. I mean, it is still kind of go to the next level, but you just get there a different way. And the nice thing is, the thing that I ended up appreciating about it was there were certain areas when you're traveling to the next level that you couldn't get to. There might be some sort of colored wall blocking it. And finally, when you unlock a certain move, the hilarious thing is there's this goat that you meet throughout the game. And he gives you new special abilities when you find him. And those
naturally.
And those special abilities can then also be used to unlock different parts of the world. That you can access either different chunks of heart, so your life bar can be extended.
Sure.
The other thing is your special moves, like you have this huge uppercut and like I said, the headbutt. Those also have little chunks, like little stamina chunks. So starting out, I think you can only do 2 special moves, and then you have to wait for those to recharge. As you find those secret areas and unlock more chunks, then you can gain more stamina. So by the end of the game, I could do like 5 special moves before I had to wait for them to fill back up.
And can you do other moves while you wait for the special moves?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
And what was playtime like?
I think it ended up being 6 or 7 hours.
Wow.
To beat it. Which I love that.
That might be bought today.
It's really good, and they just came out with a gold edition that has like some expansion stuff in it, some extra DLC.
Guacamelee Super Turbo Edition, Championship Edition?
Yes, that just came out.
Sweet.
Do you have an Xbox 360?
I do not, but it's on PS3. I just need to bite the bullet and get a PS4 is what needs to happen.
The reason I was asking is because I believe it was given away on their Games for Gold this month.
Oh, okay.
So that's why.
Okay.
But I highly recommend this game. I mean, like I said,
sweet.
there's only been one other game that has hooked me that I have to beat right away because I just enjoyed myself so much, and that was The Last of Us. And this is a totally different style game, but it hooked me, and I definitely recommend it.
That's awesome. I'm definitely checking that out.
I also continued Hearthstone this week.
I was going to say, have you ever played that before?
No. Yes, a lot. But their new expansion came out this week. I think it's pronounced Nexramas, something like that. Nezramas.
That's actually my middle name.
Tim Nezramas Austin?
Yes, that is me.
That is weird.
Yeah, pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So expansion, what else does this add? I mean, obviously new cards it adds.
It's a weird expansion. It's a free-to-play game, mostly multiplayer, but what they did was they came out with a solo mode.
Okay.
That's what this expansion is, a solo mode. But this part will cost you money. Well, it doesn't have to cost you money. You can play everything. Like, it's very expensive. You can play a lot though and gain gold to unlock the expansion. You can still do that. I think it's 700 gold per chapter of the solo adventure.
Okay.
That's a lot of Hearthstone to play. A lot. Because I think a pack of cards is 100, and I could probably, if I played a lot, I could probably get 100 gold every day, every couple days. So it'd take a good week and a half to 2 weeks of playing to be able to unlock one of these expansions. But still, that's an awesome option.
I mean, yeah, it's an option, and that's more than what other games usually give.
So the nice thing is, though, if you play right now, the first chapter of the expansion is free.
Okay.
If you do it right now. If you don't do it through this month, then you have to pay for it.
Okay.
So I ended up playing it. I thought it might be more of a story mode. It's really not. It's just more of a... There's 3 bosses, and you got to beat them. That's it.
Okay.
And they have different styles of play. I do think this is really cool because they, the first one was a spider that I had to beat, and they had a bunch of different weird spider cards, which was pretty cool. And then once you beat those bosses, you unlock some special cards that you can now use in your deck.
Sure.
I beat the 3 bosses. One of them was crazy, though. They had this ability that if they spent like 2 of the crystals, they could shoot a fireball at you for every card that you have in your hand. That's insane.
Yeah, that's pretty inconvenient.
Yeah. So I beat all 3 bosses. Then it goes on, and you can play a couple more of the bosses, but they have what's called a like a class challenge, and you had to beat them with a specific class.
Sure.
That also unlocked a card. Then the last thing, though, is you can play the bosses on heroic mode. That is insane. I have not beaten them yet on heroic mode. Basically, what they do is you start at 30 normally. Your life, you whittle it down from 30.
Sure.
They up the boss up to like 45, and I think they give them some other advantages with their special ability, and makes it way harder.
I was going to say, so your heroic mode is basically handicap mode for you.
Yes. Yeah, basically. But overall, it's another way to get people to play in the game, so I've been playing it more this week, so I think from that perspective it was worth it for them.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things I read a couple weeks ago, I heard that they are looking to port that to the Android OS. It hasn't been released yet. They didn't give a date, but so it is coming out for that. I tried to play Hearthstone on my iPad 2, and it was nearly impossible.
Chuggalicious.
Oh man, it was bad. So I uninstalled it right away. But I'm not huge into the card type games, but I thought I'd give. I mean, you guys love it, so I thought I'd give it a try, and it was.
I'd say it's another one of those great games you can just play on the couch while you're watching the Bowie Tubey.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. And then it's nice too. Brittany's on her iPad, I'm on mine, and we play each other, so we like that as well. That aspect. So.
Interactive gaming.
The last game on the list this week, I started back up on The Walking Dead. There's a new chapter out now. Chapter 4 of Season 2 of The Walking Dead is out. I finished Chapter 2 and started Chapter 3.
You love these.
I do. I really do.
And understandably so. Their storytelling's pretty rad from what I've heard.
Right now, Chapter 2 is on sale, I think, or not Chapter 2, sorry, Season 2, all of Season 2, so that's 5 chapters, is on sale for $16 on Steam. It is worth it. It is better than the show. Just every time I play it, I'm just like, wow, this is just so much more engaging. The characters are better. The story is better. I love it better than the show. That's all I got to say.
That's all you have to say. Mic drop. I really like the show, and so I played. I hate to keep harping on this, but there was an Android version that they put out for free. I don't know if it's the same storyline or all that stuff, but I think
it's chapter 1 of season 1 is free.
Okay. I blew through it in 5 minutes.
No.
5-10 minutes. Yeah.
No.
And I was like, what is...
It should have taken an hour. Yeah, so that's surprising. Surprisingly weird.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of another thing. But it's just, I really like... I'm not a zombie guy. I'm not that guy. But the Walking Dead TV show is different for me because it's so character-driven. And you get involved in the characters the same way Last of Us was like that. You care about the characters and you want to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is something the Walking Dead game that you're playing, I feel like that's something I would really get into.
It is very much so character driven. The trouble I have with the Walking Dead show is that they rely pretty heavily on some tropes and some cheap stuff like
sure.
The little like the characters are sometimes dumb really dumb.
Like what?
Like there will be times where did that zombie come from? You know?
Oh, yeah.
Just out of the blue. This zombie that is always grunting, always making sounds.
Sneaks up on them.
Yeah.
Sure.
They're not sneaky creatures by nature. So that really bugs me. They'll just be walking through and suddenly a zombie will lunge. Or in a wide open area. They don't see this zombie that's way over there and then suddenly it's right behind them and biting.
Right.
That kind of stuff bothers me. I think they could just be a little smarter about that. It's like insert zombie here. You know, it's like
there's a lull in the storytelling. You know what this could use? More zombies.
And I think the thing I like about the game is that it's smarter in that sense. And it just does a really great job of developing the characters and making that very important. I also think choosing the dialogue invests you more in the character than just watching. So that also adds, another element to.
There's some decision-making process in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm liking Season 2 more and more. At this point, I kind of like Season 2 better than Season 1. And Season 1 was one of my favorite games that year. When I completed that, I was just like, wow, that was an experience that I really enjoyed.
Now, do you see playability on this, choosing different options?
Like replayability?
Yeah.
Yes, because your options impact how the story is told and how the story unfolds. So you could play through it. For a while, I was trying to play through what if the character Clementine was just a jerk. And because you have that kind of that range of answers that you can give.
Sure.
And I was playing she was just being really upfront, really bold, and kind of jerky to everyone. And then you can do more like empathetic answers. Or the other option is you could just not answer everything and just be silent, which I think is also hilarious. I have not tried that, but
she's a mute. That's what happened.
Unfortunately, there are other lines that will come up, lines of dialogue. I don't think you can go through the whole game mute, but that does add to the replayability of the game as well.
Sweet.
Telltale Games is just killing it.
Killing it.
Are you ready for some news there,
Let's
Hombre?
do the news. I'm excited about a couple of these.
All right, here's some news music. All right, everybody, it's time for some gaming news. I'm going to skip to the last story that we have listed.
Because you're pretty passionate about that.
I think it's really cool. I think
it is really cool.
I think it answers some questions that people have had about... We're talking about Comixology, all right? This isn't really gaming news, but it's nerdy news. We like nerdy news. Comixology just offered the option to download DRM-free versions of your comics this week. So you can log into Comixology on their website, on your computer, and download PDF or CBZ files of your comics. DRM-free. No DRM.
No DRM. For those of you who are like, oh yeah, I totally know what DRM is and don't really know. It stands for Digital Rights Management, and what it is it basically imprints the file that you buy saying only you can use this with certain credentials. So what this means is if I buy something DRM free and I say, Dan, you have to check this out, I can send it to him, he can read it on his without having to have my account or things like that. So I think it's a great idea. I mean, where DRM got super popular was the whole iTunes. You bought a song, it could only be played by you on your device, and so they've since gone away from that somewhat. And so Comixology doing this, they got bought out by Amazon. They are now doing DRM free. I think it's great news.
I think it's great news too. I would say that legitimately the people that buy their comics, they're not going to put it out there for the whole world to steal.
Sure, and that's the big caveat against it. That's the reason they had DRM to begin with. If you buy something that anybody can read, throw it up on a torrent site, and everybody can have it. Well, you have to trust the people who are buying your comic, and it comes to one of those things. You can get so many of these digital arts free now.
Yeah.
As a person, you need to choose, I'm going to support this because I like this and I want more of this. And I think I really like the move. This makes me want to buy it more to support this decision that's been made.
I think, too, the issue is DRM does not prevent people from stealing the comics, the music. It's just a little hurdle in the way, right. And that's it. Sure. People still do it. You can still go out there and find any comic you want and download it for free if that's what you want to do. But so that kind of makes DRM pointless.
Yeah, I think saying it's another hurdle is perfect because you can find DRM strippers all over the place.
Simply, one of the things that you could do with Comixology on your iPad, hold your home button, hit the power button, and then you have a screen capture.
Right.
It's just like that, and that's what people will do. They take a comic and they'll just take screen images of it and then they put it out there. So it's like, why punish the people that are actually legitimately buying the comics? Trust us that we're going to pay for our stuff, and right. Then give us the option just in case. So really, this is just a security thing. Really, it makes us feel more secure because the question is, what happens if Comixology goes out of business? What happens to all my comics? Do I actually own them?
Right. Well, now you do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Hopefully, something like Steam, that's the next step. When does Steam offer that?
Yeah.
They at some point should offer DRM free if you buy the game. Most people probably aren't going to use it. But as long as it's there and people know that if anything ever happens to Steam, all your games are there.
Yeah, and see, that brings up a point that I'm kind of going back and forth on. I can see both sides. Part of video gaming when I was growing up, and I'm sure while you were growing up as well, was going to church, going to youth group and saying, I just beat this game, here it is, you try and play it. And like that was part of the fun for me. All right,
Sharing. Yep.
I'm not giving it to you. I'm not, this isn't yours forever. It's still mine, but try this. And so that's a huge part of it for me. And with having DRM free, that you gain that ability to do that again.
And that leads to more sales too. Being able to share,
absolutely, absolutely. Obviously, you can abuse that, but you can abuse it with DRM to begin with. So I see both sides. I like this side better because it gives the owner ownership. Really, yeah. I mean, it allows them to be theirs instead of, yeah, you buy this, but it's still kind of ours. And if we go under, they're all gone.
Yeah, I love Comixology. I use it all the time. I think it's great. They have great sales too, and this is just another good thing to move Comixology forward. And like you said, another good reason for that Amazon, picking them up.
Absolutely, I think Amazon picking them up is a great idea.
And by the way, before we move on from this story, I just want to say too, there was a big deal made about after Amazon bought them, they took away the ability to make in-app purchases on the iPad. So before, what you could do is go into Comixology, the storefront was right there, and you could easily buy your comics within the app. And Apple got a 30% cut of all of those in-app purchases. So once Amazon took it over, they stripped that. They said, nope, if you want to buy this, you have to go to Comixology.com. A lot of people were upset by that. Now that has, so a little time has passed, I don't have an issue with it at all.
You don't.
I regularly go. I just changed my habits. I regularly go to Comixology.com, and I found a little system that I can easily buy them. When I'm in my Comixology app, if I'm at the end of a comic and I want to get the next one, it gives you the option to add it to your wish list.
Okay.
I hit that add wish list button, go to Comixology.com. It's right there. I can easily buy it quickly. So it isn't an issue for me.
People freak out about that kind of stuff way too much. I mean, I get it, but who likes change?
30% is a huge cut, though.
A huge cut.
Yeah. Huge.
Apple.
So moving on to our next story, Steam has updated their controller yet again.
I was going to say, what is this, version 38?
They have added an analog stick.
Which and Dan and I have not talked about this yet, but can we say why wasn't this there to begin with?
No, we can't. We don't.
Why?
Know.
You don't think it was needed to begin with?
I do think it was needed. Yes.
Oh, I'm just saying, why wasn't this involved in the original?
I think there was just a focus on being able to have precision with those touchpads that you couldn't have with an analog stick. There was so much focus on that I think they kind of.
That's great in theory.
Yeah.
I like that in theory, but I just don't see how they can really flush that out. And so the fact that they're adding an analog stick is, to me, the news that they're adding it is kind of like, yep, they should have.
And kind of duh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been an analog stick on every single controller ever since the dawn of time.
Basically what this does, I think for a lot of games like a first-person shooter or something where you just have to move, imagine if you're using a trackpad with your thumb and trying to move.
Constantly scrolling.
Scoot, and then lift your thumb, scoot. It's like picking up your mouse, pushing forward, picking up your mouse, pushing forward. So the analog stick allows you to just push up.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Well, they probably could have coded those touchpads to be able to do that, but it just, people are going to run to what they're familiar with, and I think an analog stick is that.
I don't think we're done seeing big changes to the controller.
I agree. I'm not sure if it's... controller looks sweet, though.
Yeah, it is. It looks cool. I mean, it's definitely something I'll consider, at least trying.
For sure.
And finally, then, on our list of stories this week, it looks like that Google deal with Twitch is going to happen.
Which is incredible.
They're going to buy it for $1 billion.
With a B. Billion. With a B.
That is a lot of moolah.
That is some serious kashish. No, I think that this is great. Obviously, Google owning YouTube makes it... Obviously, you understand why they want to purchase this, along with, how many uploads they're getting per day, per hour, whatever. But the integration with YouTube is going to be rad once this goes through.
It's a really big thing for Google and YouTube to stay relevant, because a lot of those live events are becoming very prominent. And YouTube's live event thing isn't branded that well. I mean, they have some little live event thing, but I don't think it's that important or that used where Twitch is, and Twitch is known.
Yeah, I think that I think Google is trying to keep, because they have Hangouts, which we're using right now, and then YouTube live events, and they've kind of mished them together a little bit, where I think that this will allow them to have a better live event. And I think it's a really smart move for them. I really do.
And for instance, look at just recently the International for Dota 2 happened last week.
Yep.
And all you heard about was Twitch. I mean, that was it. So that's not good for YouTube.
Right.
Now, YouTube's still going to have other uses.
Yeah, I was going to say, YouTube's not going anywhere.
Yeah. But this just adds more relevance and staying power to YouTube, and broadens their offerings, that they just still are that source for all things video.
Absolutely. It just adds another facet to what they're already doing well. I have nothing but good to say about this. And good on Twitch. 1 billion, that's awesome.
We've had some huge sales as far as like when you consider like Oculus Rift. And what was that, 2 billion?
Like
Twitch is $1 billion.
Sales.
That's crazy. And Oculus Rift isn't even out, really. I mean, you have to buy a prototype or something at this point.
Yeah, it's just huge sales. I'm gonna get me a piece of that pie.
Yeah, I want some pie.
Ooh, I want some real pie now.
All right, are you ready to move on to the nerdy recommendation of the week?
Yes, and I'm a little embarrassed, but let's do it.
All right. All right, everyone, it is time for the nerdy recommendation of the week. And this is Tim's recommendation. And my mom's recommendation.
I knew it was coming. Guys, I've been watching Parenthood. I'm a 30-year-old single man, and I'm watching basically a nighttime soap opera. Is that fair? No. Nighttime soap opera?
I don't know that I would call it a nighttime soap opera.
It's about a family, and the writing's just really fantastic.
Did you say what it is?
Did I not say yet?
I don't remember.
What a loser. Parenthood. I think I did say.
All right.
Parenthood is what I've been watching. I'm in season 5 right now, which is the latest season that just aired. Season 6 is coming in the fall, and then that's it. That's all she wrote. Season 6 is going to be it, from what they're saying.
I like hearing that. I like hearing that a show just...
Oh, me too. I don't give me The Office where you make it go 3 seasons too far. I don't want that. I want it to be good and end good. Don't give me Lost where the first 3-ish seasons were good, then the last 3 were nasty crap.
I don't agree with you there, but...
Well, not nasty crap. I love Lost, but like I just don't want it to go too far. I want it to end well.
See, I thought those last seasons... We're getting off track, but I thought those last seasons of Lost were cool. Like season 4 and 5 when they were like, hey, let's only produce like 13 episodes. I thought that was a good move, and I thought it made the seasons better. Continue with Parenthood.
Well, they had to produce 13 episodes because of the writer's strike. Bunch of
No,
jerks.
it wasn't it. You're wrong.
No, it was.
No,
You're
it
wrong.
wasn't. No. That was not because of the writer's strike. It was because the producers, Damon Lindelof and the other dude, Carlton Cuse,
Bad robot.
They stood up for the show and said, hey, you want these 24 episodes, but it is stretching us thin on this show. We're having tons of stupid filler episodes. We need to commit to an end date, and we need to commit to a number of shorter, episodes, stretches in the season. And so for those final 3 seasons, they were like, this is all we're doing. And I thought the writer's strike happened during season 3. And I don't know. But anyways, Parenthood is a television show. It's based on the 1989 movie with Steve Martin.
Yes, and it is just this giant family that has a bunch of issues, and they just deal with each other. Because I love UPH, I'm gonna admit something here. The first episode I ever watched, I cried. It got me hooked immediately. Just some parent issues, family issues. The writing's just really, really good. You guys should go watch it. The first 4 seasons are out on Netflix, and then season 5 is on Hulu Plus. So that's how I'm watching it right now. So then season 6 starts in the fall. Thank you for allowing me to out myself with Parenthood.
Have you
seen it at all?
No, I I know my mom watches it. She loves it. So I might
That is not helping my case at all.
No, it's not.
Okay, if you're a nerd, you need to identify with Dax Shepard's character on that show.
See,
I really like Dax.
That's another strike against the show.
You don't like Dax?
No.
Why?
Because he comes from that whole like Dane Cook era of when movies and stuff. And I don't like Dane Cook either.
I don't like Dane Cook either, but Dax Shepard is awesome, and I love his wife Kristen Bell because she's awesome and super funny.
That's his real wife. I did not know
That's
that.
his real wife. Yeah,
Sorry,
she's super funny.
Don't keep up on celebrity relationships like you.
Yeah, because that's really important to me.
Well, thank you very much for that nerdy recommendation of the week. We will all consider watching Parenthood.
Yeah, make fun of me on Twitter. That's fine.
Everybody, hashtag I cried at Parenthood.
Hashtag I watch girly shows and I'm a man.
All right, everybody, it's time for the closers and plugs. It's the end of another episode. Tim, you want to start us off?
Oh, I didn't know. Music. I was waiting for music. We don't have any music.
Nope.
Tim, feel free to email us at podcast@uphshow.com. We would love to hear your feedback.
Our Twitter handle is / No, it's not. Our Twitter handle is @UPHshow.
Facebook is facebook.com/UPHshow.
Subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitchers or whatever podcatcher you use. Please feel free to rate our show as well and give us a review.
And why don't you come on over to our Steam group, which is so cleverly named Unbelievable Power Hour.
And finally, we have a YouTube channel where we post this vidcast and other gaming delectable videos. And we're at youtube.com/UPH show. That's it for episode 29, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See ya.